1. What component is primarily responsible for pressurizing refrigerant in an MVAC system? A. Accumulator. B. Compressor. C. Evaporator. D. Receiver dryer. 2. Which MVAC component removes moisture and particulates from the refrigerant? A. Condenser. B. Receiver dryer. C. Expansion valve. D. Suction hose. 3. When testing MVAC system performance, what environmental factor must be noted for accurate diagnostics? A. Vehicle weight. B. Road condition. C. Ambient temperature. D. Fuel type. 4. A technician detects a high pressure reading and low cooling efficiency. What is the likely cause? A. Overcharged system. B. Faulty blower motor. C. Low engine RPM. D. Air in tires. 5. What is the correct method to detect refrigerant leaks in an MVAC system? A. Visual inspection. B. Ultraviolet dye and electronic leak detector. C. Using refrigerant smell. D. Checking oil level. 6. Which component regulates the flow of refrigerant into the evaporator? A. Receiver dryer. B. Condenser. C. Thermal expansion valve. D. Compressor. 7. What is the function of the condenser in an MVAC system? A. Absorb heat. B. Compress gas. C. Release heat to ambient air. D. Increase pressure. 8. What should be done before recovering refrigerant from an MVAC system? A. Replace compressor. B. Measure oil content. C. Verify refrigerant type. D. Open all valves. 9. What diagnostic tool measures system pressures during MVAC performance testing? A. Micrometer. B. Manifold gauge set. C. Multimeter. D. Tachometer. 10. When using a manifold gauge, which color hose is connected to the low pressure side? A. Red. B. Green. C. Yellow. D. Blue. 11. What can cause an MVAC system to short cycle? A. Proper refrigerant charge. B. Clogged cabin filter. C. Overfilled oil. D. Low refrigerant charge. 12. Which MVAC component acts as a heat exchanger and is usually located near the radiator? A. Accumulator. B. Evaporator. C. Condenser. D. Expansion valve. 13. What is the primary cause of reduced airflow through the evaporator? A. Dirty expansion valve. B. Blocked heater core. C. Clogged cabin air filter. D. Compressor failure. 14. What component is used in some MVAC systems to store refrigerant during low demand? A. Orifice tube. B. Receiver dryer. C. Thermistor. D. Blower motor. 15. How should a technician respond to a condenser fan that fails during system operation? A. Recharge the system. B. Replace receiver dryer. C. Inspect wiring and fan motor. D. Drain compressor. 16. During a performance test, what is the ideal temperature difference between inlet and outlet air? A. 10 degrees Fahrenheit to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 20 degrees Fahrenheit to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. C. 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Less than 5 degrees Fahrenheit. 17. Which refrigerant is most commonly used in modern MVAC systems? A. R11. B. R134A. C. R22. D. R410A. 18. What is the effect of air contamination in an MVAC system? A. Improves cooling. B. Lowers compressor pressure. C. Increases system pressure. D. Reduces oil viscosity. 19. Which tool helps identify temperature anomalies in MVAC components? A. Manifold gauge. B. Thermal imaging camera. C. Vacuum pump. D. Schrader valve tool. 20. What is a symptom of an overcharged MVAC system? A. Subcooling. B. Decreased discharge pressure. C. Frost on compressor. D. High head pressure. 21. What does a clutchless variable displacement compressor control? A. Refrigerant volume. B. Blower speed. C. Evaporator temperature. D. Fan rotation. 22. A hissing noise is heard after shutting off the MVAC. What is the likely source? A. Suction line leak. B. Normal refrigerant equalization. C. Condenser fan failure. D. Belt slippage. 23. What is the best practice when replacing an MVAC compressor? A. Flush system and replace receiver dryer. B. Add more refrigerant. C. Lower system pressure. D. Clean condenser only. 24. Which of the following indicates a restricted orifice tube? A. Bubbles in sight glass. B. Low side high, high side low pressure readings. C. No airflow through condenser. D. Unresponsive blower switch. 25. What must always be replaced when moisture contamination is suspected? A. Expansion valve. B. Evaporator. C. Receiver dryer or accumulator. D. Thermostat. 26. How is oil typically added to a new MVAC compressor? A. Through service port. B. Injected with dye. C. Filled with vacuum. D. Pre-measured charge from manufacturer. 27. Why is a vacuum pulled on an MVAC system before charging? A. Stabilize oil viscosity. B. Heat the refrigerant. C. Remove air and moisture. D. Increase expansion valve performance. 28. What is the effect of a faulty expansion valve? A. Low suction pressure. B. High blower motor speed. C. Reduced refrigerant charge. D. Excessive cabin humidity. 29. A customer complains of warm air at idle but cools while driving. What's the likely issue? A. Overcharged system. B. Weak condenser fan. C. Bad thermostat. D. Faulty blower motor. 30. A restricted condenser will most likely result in which condition? A. Low side freezing. B. High head pressure. C. Oil foaming. D. Rapid clutch cycling. 31. Which safety procedure should always be followed during refrigerant recovery? A. Leave hood closed. B. Disconnect battery. C. Wear gloves and eye protection. D. Use oxygen mask. 32. What determines the correct oil type for an MVAC system? A. Compressor type. B. Hose diameter. C. Ambient conditions. D. Fan speed setting. 33. What component senses evaporator temperature to prevent freezing? A. TXV. B. Thermistor. C. Orifice tube. D. Dryer. 34. What performance issue results from too little oil in the MVAC system? A. Oil slugging. B. Improved compressor efficiency. C. Compressor wear and failure. D. High pressure readings. 35. A system shows equal pressure on both sides after shutdown. What does this indicate? A. Expansion valve open. B. Compressor running. C. Normal pressure equalization. D. Orifice tube clogged. 36. What is the impact of overoiling an MVAC system? A. Stronger cooling. B. Pressure drop. C. Poor heat exchange and damage. D. Lower airflow. 37. What type of refrigerant oil is used with our 134A systems? A. Mineral oil. B. PAG oil. C. Alkyl benzene oil. D. Silicone oil. 38. A clutch clicks rapidly when AC is on. What could be the cause? A. Correct refrigerant charge. B. High fan speed. C. System undercharge. D. Damaged cabin filter. 39. What is used to protect MVAC systems from overpressure? A. Thermistor. B. Expansion valve. C. High pressure cutout switch. D. Condenser fan. 40. What does subcooling measure in MVAC testing? A. Oil saturation. B. Moisture content. C. Heat removed from refrigerant. D. Heat added to refrigerant. 41. A high-pressure side gauge reads above normal while low side is low. What does this indicate? A. System normal. B. Defective compressor. C. Blockage in system. D. Fan relay issue. 42. What causes frost on the suction line? A. Overcharged system. B. Air in system. C. Restricted airflow. D. Evaporator coil freezing. 43. Which component prevents liquid refrigerant from entering the compressor? A. Receiver dryer. B. Suction throttle valve. C. Accumulator. D. Expansion valve. 44. During performance testing, what tool is used to monitor temperature output inside the vehicle? A. Thermocouple. B. Hygrometer. C. Infrared gun. D. AC thermometer. 45. Which scenario requires immediate refrigerant recovery and repair? A. High humidity. B. Mild cooling drop. C. Visible dye at compressor seam. D. Low fan noise. 46. What may occur if system airflow is blocked at the condenser? A. Evaporator overheating. B. Cooling improves. C. Compressor runs quieter. D. System head pressure rises. 47. Which test confirms presence of non-condensables in refrigerant? A. Pressure-temperature relationship test. B. Oil sample test. C. Fan RPM measurement. D. UV dye leak test. 48. What must be done after replacing a TXV valve? A. Replace cabin filter. B. Add mineral oil. C. Recharge and vacuum system. D. Top up water pump. 49. What condition is caused by moisture freezing inside the TXV or orifice tube? A. High pressure. B. Erratic system function. C. Constant airflow. D. Full cooling performance. 50. What refrigerant state enters the evaporator in normal operation? A. High pressure gas. B. High pressure liquid. C. Low pressure gas. D. Oil refrigerant mix. 51. What is the most effective method to verify full refrigerant charge in an MVAC system? A. Visual check. B. Temperature comparison. C. Weight scale. D. Subcooling superheat method. 52. What happens if a TXV sticks open? A. High-low side pressure. B. System undercharged. C. Low evaporator temp. D. Reduced airflow. 53. A technician suspects oil overcharge. What is the correct response? A. Vent oil manually. B. Recover, measure, and recharge system. C. Replace TXV. D. Bypass condenser. 54. What is indicated by ice forming on the evaporator coil? A. Normal operation. B. Overcharged refrigerant. C. Restricted airflow or TXV failure. D. Low engine temperature. 55. Which MVAC component directly affects cabin humidity levels? A. Compressor. B. Condenser. C. Evaporator. D. Receiver dryer. 56. What should be done after leak repair before recharging the system? A. Add extra oil. B. Install a new compressor. C. Pull a deep vacuum to remove moisture. D. Open TXV manually. 57. What is a sign of a faulty blower motor resistor? A. Compressor short cycling. B. High head pressure. C. No change in blower speed control. D. System undercharge. 58. Why is it important to monitor ambient temperature during MVAC performance testing? A. Affects oil viscosity. B. Impacts airflow. C. Determines proper pressure range. D. Alters cabin size. 59. What causes a high pressure reading on the gauge but poor cabin cooling? A. TXV stuck open. B. Dirty cabin air filter. C. Blocked condenser fins. D. Insufficient refrigerant. 60. What best describes superheat in system performance? A. Pressure drop across TXV. B. Heat added to refrigerant after evaporation. C. Heat removed during condensation. D. Oil cooling measure. 61. What is the purpose of a Schrader valve in MVAC testing? A. Prevent refrigerant leaks. B. Remove oil from lines. C. Equalize pressure. D. Add lubrication. 62. Which situation warrants replacement of both receiver dryer and orifice tube? A. Compressor failure. B. Filter clog. C. Condenser cleaning. D. Weak blower motor. 63. What does excessive compressor cycling typically suggest? A. Ideal refrigerant charge. B. High humidity. C. Incorrect refrigerant charge. D. TXV oversized. 64. What is the consequence of not using the specified type of refrigerant oil? A. Oil foaming. B. Moisture accumulation. C. Poor lubrication and damage. D. No change. 65. A customer reports warm air only while idling. What component should be tested first? A. TXV. B. Condenser fan. C. Cabin filter. D. Orifice tube. 66. What does a vacuum gauge reading of less than 29 nhg during evacuation suggest? A. Fully evacuated. B. Leak or moisture in system. C. High system performance. D. Overcharged system. 67. What is the role of the orifice tube in fixed displacement systems? A. Regulate refrigerant flow. B. Convert refrigerant to vapor. C. Absorb excess oil. D. Lubricate compressor. 68. A thermal expansion valve modulates flow based on which input? A. Suction line pressure. B. Evaporator outlet pressure. C. Evaporator temperature. D. Cabin temperature. 69. Why is it important to isolate the compressor during leak testing? A. Reduce downtime. B. Protect system from false readings. C. Compressors always leak. D. Enhance airflow. 70. What component ensures refrigerant enters the evaporator as a low-pressure liquid? A. TXV. B. Condenser fan. C. Dryer. D. Accumulator. 71. What causes low pressure on both high and low sides of the manifold gauge? A. TXV stuck open. B. Faulty compressor. C. Cabin filter clog. D. Condenser fan failure. 72. What is the correct procedure after installing a new compressor in an MVAC system? A. Flush system and vacuum. B. Add water to radiator. C. Charge to max pressure. D. Disconnect the blower motor. 73. When should the receiver dryer be replaced? A. Every year. B. Any time the system is opened. C. Compressor cycles normally. D. Refrigerant is R1234YF. 74. How is compressor clutch engagement tested manually? A. Jump relay terminals. B. Bypass fuse. C. Squeeze condenser hose. D. Disconnect blower resistor. 75. What happens if an MVAC system is overcharged? A. Compressor runs smoother. B. Higher pressures and potential component damage. C. Cooling efficiency increases. D. TXV closes fully. 76. Why must all MVAC refrigerants be recovered before service? A. Reduce oil viscosity. B. Prevent refrigerant mixing. C. Protect the environment and comply with law. D. Decrease cooling time. 77. What does a sight glass with constant bubbles usually indicate? A. Fully charged system. B. Low refrigerant level or gas in line. C. High humidity. D. Oil overcharge. 78. What is the primary sign of non-condensable gases in the system? A. Compressor won't start. B. Oil discharge increased. C. High discharge pressure. D. Cold suction line. 79. A weak AC performance only on the driver's side could indicate what problem? A. TXV fully open. B. Low refrigerant. C. Blend door malfunction. D. Bad condenser. 80. A TXV with a sensing bulb mounted poorly will likely result in what issue? 1. What component is primarily responsible for normal pressure readings? B. Excessive subcooling. C. Irregular refrigerant flow. D. Improved fan operation. 81. What is the key function of the accumulator in an orifice tube system? A. Raise pressure. B. Convert refrigerant to gas. C. Store excess liquid and prevent flooding. D. Increase oil velocity. 82. How does an electronically controlled variable compressor differ from fixed displacement? A. Has belt tensioner. B. Varies speed with vehicle RPM. C. Varies displacement electronically. D. Uses more oil. 83. What results from using an incorrect expansion device size? A. Better performance. B. Stable pressure. C. Poor cooling or erratic operation. D. Faster system charging. 84. After charging, what confirms the MVAC system is leak-free? A. UV dye remains visible. B. Pressures match charts. C. Vacuum holds steady for designated time. D. No air movement. 85. What determines the proper amount of refrigerant to be added? A. Oil pressure. B. Vehicle color. C. Manufacturer specification. D. Cabin volume. 86. What causes refrigerant migration when the system is off? A. Compressor operation. B. Heat from engine. C. Pressure differential. D. TXV stuck open. 87. Why should you not touch MVAC hoses during system operation? A. Hoses are fragile. B. May disrupt flow. C. Risk of frostbite or burns. D. Could dislodge oil. 88. What causes an evaporator coil to sweat or drip? A. Excess oil. B. Blower motor issue. C. Normal condensation from dehumidification. D. Compressor slip. 89. Which part must be flushed after compressor failure due to debris? A. Blower housing. B. Condenser and lines. C. Receiver only. D. Orifice tube only. 90. What is a sign of restricted airflow over the condenser? A. Normal pressure. B. Cold discharge line. C. High head pressure. D. Increased superheat. 91. What condition will cause both pressures on? 89. Which part must be flushed after compressor failure due to debris? A. Blower housing. B. Condenser and lines. C. Receiver only. D. Orifice tube only. 92. When should the TXV be replaced in an MVAC system? A. High airflow detected. B. Stuck open or closed and verified faulty. C. Compressor humming. D. Air damper stuck. 93. What test verifies the function of the TXV? A. Visual inspection. B. Voltage test. C. Pressure and temperature differential. D. Oil color test. 94. What is the role of the blower motor in MVAC performance testing? A. Provide refrigerant pressure. B. Push air over evaporator for cooling effect. C. Engage TXV. D. Maintain oil flow. 95. What indicates oil falling in the evaporator? A. Cold output. B. No airflow. C. Loss of cooling efficiency. D. Pressure equalization. 96. What should be checked if cabin air is warm despite low side pressure being normal? A. Blower motor operation. B. Engine coolant color. C. Oil level. D. System voltage. 97. What indicates a receiver dryer is saturated with moisture? A. High-low side pressure. B. No compressor engagement. C. Frost formation at dryer. D. System pressure drop. 98. What effect does excessive cabin humidity have on MVAC system performance? A. Improves TXV response. B. No change. C. Slower dehumidification and fogging. D. Faster compressor response. 99. When using UV dye to find a leak, what must be done first? A. Replace TXV. B. Add extra oil. C. Add dye and run system. D. Open expansion valve. 100. What is the best indication of a properly charged MVAC system? A. Cold sight glass. B. Compressor noise. C. Proper vent temperature and system pressure. D. Blower speed. EPA MVAC system components and performance testing. The EPA MVAC system components and performance testing section focuses on servicing motor vehicle air conditioning MVAC systems in compliance with Section 609 of the Clean Air Act. This portion of the certification evaluates the technician's understanding of key MVAC components such as compressors, condensers, evaporators, and expansion devices. It also tests knowledge of how to inspect, test, and diagnose system performance, including checking for leaks, ensuring proper refrigerant charge, and verifying pressure and temperature readings. Technicians must know how to safely recover and recharge refrigerants using EPA-approved equipment. This certification ensures compliance with federal environmental standards while maintaining vehicle system performance and safety. Here are the top 5 beneficial uses of mastering EPA MVAC system components and performance testing. 1. Regulatory compliance. Understanding MVAC systems ensures technicians meet EPA requirements for servicing vehicle air conditioning safely and legally. 2. System diagnosis. Technicians learn to test system pressure, cooling performance, and component function for accurate troubleshooting. 3. Environmental responsibility. Proper recovery and leak detection protect the atmosphere from refrigerant emissions during vehicle servicing. 4. Industry certification. This knowledge is essential to pass the EPA MVAC certification exam and work legally on vehicle AC systems. 5. Job skill enhancement. Mastery increases technician credibility and opens employment in automotive HVAC repair, fleet maintenance, and service centers.